in his hometown.
You can't get to the mountaintop without going through tests and without going through some struggles and going through some resistance. Let's see if Martin can put any resistance or form any type of test for Jared Anderson tonight.
And if it comes, Dre, it's going to come from the backhand from Martin. The straight left hand down the middle. That's his power shot.
Martin said, you're going to see a jabby man in the ring against Anderson because that's my best weapon to keep him off of me.
See, but what you're saying right now, Jared's taking that jab away because they're in a fencing battle right now. You see the lead hand, southpaw versus orthodox. The lead hands are matched up together, so you're battling for position. You can go over the top or under. Most of the times, you want to try to stay on top of it so you can knock it down and land your own jab. So that's what you're seeing right there.
Stab jab from Jared Anderson. Says, if you've got a jab, I've got a better jab. And there's that Martin trying to set up that second backhand.
See, but Martin, what he's doing is he's going down to the body. No one's tested this young man down to the body, so he's starting early. He wants to bring the attention downstairs to throw the left hand up top.
Watch the feet, watch the feet.
You see, or you hear referee Robert Hoyle warning both fighters about that lead foot, because when you get a southpaw and orthodox, as you see there, it's Jared Anderson stepping on the foot of Charles Martin and then steps on the gas with a right hook to the chin.
That's Jared Anderson already putting a lot of pressure, subtle pressure on Charles Martin to not give Martin a chance to think, set up his game plan, and in the meantime, Anderson is starting to land those single shots.
There's a quick combination from Jared Anderson, who said, look, I didn't specifically work on my physique for this camp, but all the hard work, that made me chiseled. That's a great byproduct of hard work.
Yeah, but heavyweights don't need to be chiseled. The ones that get chiseled tend to get clipped at some point in time. They need to be tight around the midsection, and they need to have supple muscles, and Jared Anderson has that.
And they get tired easier, that's true.
All those big muscles are going to do is get you fatigued when you start throwing a lot of punches.
You see the respect of Anderson for the experience of Charles Martin early in this fight, which is smart.
It's the prudent thing to do. This is a veteran guy. He's got a real left hand, and he's like that he just tried. It's not wise to go in there and shoot both punches and try to get a big knockout. You have to do it gradually.
Oh, Jared gets clipped there with a straight left from Martin, and then we see the action here picking up in the final seconds of the opening round. Second round knockout wins, but tonight he's in against a taller, longer, more experienced former world champion. But we saw the connect percentage favor Anderson at 50 to 17% in the opening round.
The biggest asset for Jared Anderson tonight is controlled aggression. He can't get touched with a punch like he did in the first round and try to leap in or try to rush to get it back, because the veteran Martin is waiting on that to let that left hand go. He's got to keep his emotions in check. Yes, he's at home, but he's got to break Martin down incrementally.
Ooh, nice jab there from the veteran Martin. The biggest question you always have for a young prospect is what is going to happen when they finally get hit by a real heavyweight punch. But right now the question is, can Martin take the punches of Jared Anderson?
Martin's going to have to do what he told us he was going to do in the fighter meeting, which is jab. Anderson is prodding and pushing down on the jab of Martin. Martin has to do the same thing and then shoot the actual jab, because trying to land one big shot against this elusive heavyweight is going to be very difficult, especially early on.
This is a lot of pressure coming from Jared. A ton of pressure early on.
But Martin is looking for him to make one mistake. He's watching.
Yeah, but Jared is staying close enough, looking for Martin to make mistakes so that way he can hit him in return.
When you take on a fighter with 33 rounds of experience who's been in there with the best heavyweights in the world, you realize that those bad habits, those mistakes, you cannot afford to make at this level. But so far, Anderson staying within himself and setting up the shots like he did there with the 1-2.
Martin really doesn't need to be moving like this.
That right hand sends Martin reeling back. Martin has to hold, and Anderson not giving him any room to do so.
He really shouldn't be moving like this, allowing Jarrett to land shots on the end of his punches. He's giving up a lot of energy. Why not try to push Anderson backwards? Why not try to be mid-range and then close to see if the young fighter can deal with that? I think he's giving up too much ground.
Because that's not his style, Dre. His style is a counter-punching style. He doesn't like to move forward. He likes to fight off the back foot. But I hear what you're saying. See, what Martin has just realized is that he can't outthink Jarrett. Jarrett is too smart, too quick, too athletic. Good shot right there from Martin. Doubling up with the left hand down the middle.
As the fight progresses, one of the questions we will see is how does Jarrett Anderson cut off the ring against a fighter with the mobility of Charles Martin? 2 rounds in the Anderson. Mark Kriegel keeping our official scorecard here. 20-8 to 9 to 18 so far, and 28-10 when it comes to punches landed through the first 2 rounds. Jarrett Anderson tends to be a fighter who is on the more active side, but he's a little bit off pace tonight. He averages 62.9 punches per round so far. He's got 67 through 2 rounds, and that's a sign of respect for the experience of Martin. We'll see how things heat up.
Martin right there investing in the body. Knows that he can't hit Jarrett to the head. So he's throwing a straight left hand down to the body.
You see the power of Jarrett Anderson. Even when those are glancing shots on the head of Charles Martin, he still moves the former champion.
Martin has to try to get some respect early. He's got to try to get some respect to at least make Jarrett Anderson think before he comes in there. Jarrett is doing what he wants to do right now, and Martin hasn't landed anything significant to this point.
Because he hasn't planted his feet the entire time.
And I don't buy the fact that he's just a counterpuncher. This dude's a former champion. He's been around a long time. He knows how to come forward. But when you heard his game plan yesterday in the fighter meeting, for some reason they thought moving away from the smaller man was a good idea. And I think he should try to press forward because he's not having much success right now.
And the reason for that game plan he said and alluded to in the that you're alluding to, Dre, is he wants to take them deep. He wants to test the conditioning of the young men because Jarrett hasn't been past 6 rounds.
And Christina Poncher was in the corner of Charles Martin. What do you have, Christina?
Yeah, Dre, not sure you're going to be too happy with this instruction because the Martin corner told me that they want Charles to move more than he's moving right now. Maybe to your point, Tim, getting to those later rounds. Want him to work his jab a little bit more and stay away from Jarrett's right hand.
Well, Jarrett's yet to go past 6 rounds as a pro and really yet to lose a round as a pro with all those knockouts he's been able to distribute.
And I think that's a good mindset if you want to take the younger fighter who hasn't gone around deep, but you got to land something in the meantime. You got to throw. And you see Martin doing more of that now. He's not throwing while he's going backwards. He's standing his ground and throwing, and that's when he's landing. He's got to do more of that.
Anderson goes to the southpaw stance, and now Martin's looking in a mirror.
And Jarrett Anderson has to be alert at all times.
Does that put him closer to danger, the fact that he's southpaw now?
I don't think it's necessarily closer to danger. He's in there. He knows what he feels. And when you're a switch hitter, you switch. It's a feel thing. It's not an instruction thing most of the time. So he must feel good.
Oh, that right hand drops Martin here in round number 3. And Martin complains that their feet got tangled. Inside the ring momentarily, but round 4 is off to a start here, and Jarrett Anderson through 3 rounds, 35 of 101 punches. Keep in mind, this is a fighter who has thrown over 100 punches in a round before in Jarrett Anderson.
Right, but that's not what the doctor ordered tonight. You got to know when to switch that up. You have a one-set mind, then everybody knows he's going to try to throw X amount of punches. You do what you need to do. And Jarrett Anderson has discerned in this fight, in this moment, what he needs to do. Be economical, be smart, and make every shot count.
Yeah, but he's fighting a dangerous puncher. You just can't rush in there and throw lots of shots. You give him an opportunity. Ooh, just getting out of the way of that. You get him a lot of opportunities when you're throwing punches. And to land something hard in between.
That knockdown may have woken up Charles Martin, who's got 26 knockouts in 29 victories. So He knows how to punch. It's just, is he willing to commit against a puncher like Jared Anderson, who's 14 of 14 when it comes to knockout wins?
Look at Charles is a veteran. He's looking for the long haul. He's not looking for the short haul. He's thinking about 6, 7, 8. When Jared starts, if he's looking for Jared to get a little lackadaisical, so that way he can go to work. I don't know if that's going to happen, but we will see.
That's a risky proposition, Dre, of giving all those rounds away.
Especially when you get hit in the head in the meantime and you could possibly get knocked out. I think you should bank for the later rounds by putting money in the bank with the punches you throw and the punches you land. So it depends on what you're willing to live with come Sunday morning when you wake up, your performance. I believe being Martin, given where he is in his career and given this opportunity, I'm going to try to give it everything I have and still take the young fighter late, but I'm not going to let him beat up on me in the process.
Look at Jared is still somewhat fresh right now. His reflexes on point, but he keeps pulling back. That is something that I've been telling him, and I've been trying to preach to him and saying, hey, that's a cardinal sin. You pull back, eventually you will get caught with something.
Martin has had minimal success when he lets his hands go and stands his ground. He hasn't had success at all backing up along the ropes. That just gives Jared Anderson confidence, gives him leverage, and that allows Anderson to load up the big shot.
It was a left from Martin, but then Anderson comes back with a flurry of punches, and now he's walking down the former world champion who misses over the top.
Right now, it's the Jared Anderson show.
Yep, and then what did I tell you? You put that pressure on this guy, I'm telling you, soft in the middle. He don't like it. Ding dong.
Martin got a lot of problems. First, he's getting beat up by southpaw, then he's getting beat up by a right-handed. There's a lot going on in there for Martin. I suggest he let his hands go.
You see Anderson starting to heat up here in the 4th round, and he said this fight won't go past 5, so the bell is going to toll for this end of the 4th round. We'll see what happens in the next one.
What am I doing this for? So that's what Martin is dealing with right now.
51 of 140 punches at a 36% accuracy rate. That is above the heavyweight average, but below what Jared Anderson usually lands at, which is 42%.
But no matter how much success Anderson is having right now, Martin will be dangerous until this fight is over.
You see Martin now not moving backwards. He's looking to stand his ground.
That's what he's got to do.
Stand in the center of the ring right now.
Last time I checked, he's the bigger fighter.
Mark Kriegel, your scorecard through 4 completed rounds.
Well, I got 4 rounds to nothing. With what you're seeing, it's amazing to me. What is Martin's best hope? The left hand. And he slipped it. Jared has slipped it just about every single time. There it goes again.
Finally, we see that left land for Anderson. I mean, on Anderson, and Martin finally lets his hands go, but there's always an answer from the real big baby, who once again gets tagged by the left of the former world champion.
The problem with Martin's best shot being a left hand is that Anderson knows it too. He knows that he's going to try to throw wild shots. He said every 15, 20 seconds, I got to be ready for a big, desperate shot.
The left eye of Charles Martin starts to swell here, and that's the last thing you want to happen if you're the former champion.
And all that's going to do is wake Jared Anderson up.
Big 1-2 from Charles Martin, who now goes to the body.
He got buzzed.
Let's see how he responds.
Pull straight back. Got him in trouble. Pulling straight back. Got him in trouble. Woke him up, though.
There it is, Jared Anderson on shaky legs, and he's fighting on instinct, not intelligence here.
This is exactly the questions that we want answered here.
Martin was dangerous early in the fight. A big left long hand from Charles Martin as Jared Anderson looks up at the clock. There's still 50 seconds, and it's landing at will for Charles Martin here, and Anderson's going to have to dig deep.
These kind of situations in heavyweight boxing, anything can happen. Any fighter can get dropped or knocked out in a split second.
The clock is Jared Anderson's best friend and enemy. But Martin, if he keeps throwing, he's going to keep connecting because Anderson's legs are not under him yet.
He's got to tighten up Anderson, his defense, and not be so leaky. Like Tim said, pulling back with his feet in place. That's how he got caught.